Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim HaKadosh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who are risking their lives and their freedom to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Ekalia, and this video is about the famine that's coming, which is a part of Bible prophecy. All right? In the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 3, it says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?" Which is talking about the end of an age or period of time when you look at the word world here, which is aeon at G165. So it's referring to the end of the world, meaning the end of the era, meaning the end of the period of time where the so-called white man is in rulership, right? We know that based off of the scriptures that when it is that their kingdom ends, our kingdom begins after. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? We know that we're in the final stages of the statue that was seen by Nebuchadnezzar, the vision interpreted by the prophet Daniel. We're at the part where it says that it was iron mixed with miry clay, and that it was partly strong and partly broken, right? We're at that last leg. So what's going to be happening is that this is it. It's going to be done away with, and then our kingdom starts, which will be an everlasting and perpetual rulership. So the disciples asked Yahushua and said, "What, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming?" Right? Because when it is that Yahushua returns, that is when the kingdom starts. All right, Yahushua is going to return. He's going to remove Esau, Edom out of the position of power. He's going to put all of the heathen in slavery, and he's going to establish the kingdom of heaven, which will be right here on earth. All right, so knowing these things that are coming, the disciples wanted to know, Yahushua, what are the things we shall see before you come? Okay, before your arrival. And it says in verse 6, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. These are the beginning of sorrows." So before the coming of our Lord Yahushua, we're going to be hearing of wars, rumors of wars. We're literally in the midst of these things that Yahushua spoke about at that time. Nation rising against nation, kingdom against kingdom, literally happening. The whole skirmishes between these world powers, and those same world powers that are having these skirmishes are the world powers that are directly related to Bible prophecy. Prophecy speaks about them and their actions, what they'll do. All right. And then it says the famines, the pestilences, and the earthquakes. The earthquakes are common occurrence at this point. The pestilences, they come and go, but they're continuously being spoken about. And the famine, okay? So with all of these things going on, the famine is also going to be happening, okay? And Yahushua said these are the beginning of sorrows. So given the times that we're in right now, heading into these times, right, that are going to be so terrible, which is Jacob's trouble, we're going to be experiencing famine, okay? And with that, we're going to see it all build up, okay? Experts raise red flags over mounting crisis threatening food supply for over 30 million people this summer. We're facing unprecedented challenges, posted by Yahoo News. Experts raise red flags over mounting crisis threatening food supply for over 30 million people this summer. We're facing Nigeria faces an imminent food shortage crisis that could affect over 33 million people across 26 states and the Federal Capital Territory between June and August. What's happening? The food security crisis comes despite recent rainfall as resurgent violence and economic challenges devastate farming communities. An analysis by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the World Food Programme, and Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Agriculture revealed that about 25 million people are already experiencing food crisis nationwide. Now, I didn't even know about this. I didn't even know that this article was about Nigeria. You know, I seen a brother do this video, and I just do a video on this article, and I just brought up the article myself and then just press play as well, you know, seeing what it's about. But it looks like Nigeria is having a food crisis, and that's a pretty big place. All right. With the concerted efforts of the government, CH stakeholders, and the international community, we can move closer to alleviating hunger and reducing suffering for Nigeria's most vulnerable populations. We're facing unprecedented challenges affecting livelihoods and food and nutrition security globally, regionally, and nationally. The World Bank estimates that more than half of Nigerians now live below the poverty line, a sharp rise from 40.1% in 2018 to 56% today. Why is food security important? When violence targets farming communities, the effects impact everyone. So you see, they're having issues with food because of the economic challenges which everybody's facing, but they're also facing a situation where violence targets farming communities, which who's to say if that's not intentional and organized? You get what I'm saying? You might notice these impacts at your grocery store as global food systems are interconnected, which is true. So challenges that they face, whatever it is that they export, they send from their country to other countries. The countries that receive the goods from Nigeria, they will be receiving less of that. And it is true that the world is interconnected on a financial scale and a food scale as well. Like out here in Jamaica, only, I believe the number that I last heard is like something around 10%, give or take, is generated by the country for the food that we consume. So 90% is all from different countries supplying Jamaica. So if the food isn't coming to Jamaica anymore, if the ships suddenly stop, then Jamaica will have to survive off of that 10%. It's just not going to work out, right? Remember, it's 10% of the 100% of the food, okay? So Jamaica really won't be able to survive, to me, longer than a week, you know, if the ships stop. The crisis in Nigeria shows how climate challenges combine with human conflict create food emergencies. Farming communities in states like Benue, known as Nigeria's food basket, have faced horrific violence, with Amnesty International documenting over 1,300 people killed. Yeah, you see, and then they mentioned the whole climate change thing because, you know, the devil Esau Edom, so-called white man, they push their whole climate change agenda now. Exactly what that will be used for, we will see in the coming days, because, you know, they probably will use it a part of their system. It could be with the whole a part of the whole situation with the carbon footprint, right? And they can use the whole carbon footprint thing as saying that you're using this much of the world's truly, and what actually is the world's natural resources, and they're saying that your impact is too big, so they're going to reduce your usage or whatever it is, and that's going to tie into the market chip, which is the mark of the beast, and that system, right? I relate it to, in a way, like a social credit system of sorts, just based off of like the climate and however they want to set it up. So, you know, the whole thing, the whole carbon tax and whatever, you know, one's footprint upon the world. Okay, but anyway, we'll see as the weeks, months go by, years, however it is, go by. But yeah, man, they're suffering over there in Nigeria, and you know, it's just another country to add to it, because you have in Sudan suffering because of the whole their own situation over there. Then you have Palestine suffering with famine as well, where they have had to turn towards sources of food that they never ate before, such as turtle meat, right? I did a video maybe over a week ago at this point where the Palestinians, they were like having to eat turtle meat, and they don't want to eat the turtle meat. It wasn't ever a part of their diet. They don't want to eat it. Okay, they don't want to eat turtle, right? But now, because of the situation that they're in and that they're experiencing a famine, there are turtles on the shores, and they've turned to it to start consuming it. And I remember seeing one of the children's reactions, talking about how it was really really difficult for them to even think about, even consuming it and stuff. So, it's just, what's happening is that the famine is just building up in different places around the world, from Sudan to Palestine, and now Nigeria is starting to face what they claim is unprecedented challenges. And according to the article, over 50% of the population is experiencing food insecurity, which is quite serious. Okay, and this is something that's just going to be escalating and happening around the entire world. Out here in Jamaica, Jamaica's going to feel it too. Okay, and then who is it? The organization, is it the, I believe it's the United Nations, one of the organizations that go about and help with food security around the world, as they claim that's what they're set up for, has already stated that their reserves are very low because of Palestine and that entire situation. So given that situation and that they're already low, when the other countries start to go into a crisis, they're not going to have anything for, or much to give to the other countries that start suffering from famine, because so much has already been given to that one specific crisis, and even so, with the aid of the food banks to Palestine, they're still suffering of the famine to where they're consuming the turtle meat. So you can see how things can continue to collapse so quickly and evidently. Okay, but that's just what it is. Okay, the famine is sure to come, and in 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 5 it says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." And you see these people, what's going on? These people, the empty food shelves and stuff like that. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 talks about it, and also the effect that it will have on the people. And suddenly, 2nd Ezra 6 verse 22, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall be suddenly found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run." So the full storehouses, all of the places that have any type of food, grocery stores, anything like that, they're going to be found empty. The shelves will simply just not have anything on it. And it says that at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Yeah, people that were best friends, people that are family as well, no matter how tight knit and close that they say that they are, people are going to be fighting against one another because of the famine. As it says, "So it is written, so it shall be done." That's going to draw out a lot of people, because when you listen to people speak, there are people that just don't go without food for even 3 hours at a time. People don't know what it feels like to go 6 hours without food, 12 hours without food, 24 hours without food, and people have all kinds of mood mood swings and whatever else based on their food consumption and everything. So this society, that people are going to be bugging out from the second that the food and the announcements are made. The trumpet is sound, where the announcement is made, where there are food shortages and people are going to have to start rationing and stuff like that, which is going to come because the scriptures talk about it in the book of Ezekiel. It says that the children Jerusalem, which is referring to the children of Israel, will have to measure food by weight and water with care, to paraphrase. All right, so it's going to be stages. There's going to be a rationing first, but eventually it's just going to be full-blown famine. Okay, and then people are going to be every man for himself, trying to survive, trying to just eat some piece of food, and the famine is going to become so sore that it's actually going to people are going to turn towards cannibalism as well. And to perish of famine is one of the worst judgments, but it is coming, and it is set to judge the wicked, unbelieving of our people that refuse to repent to our power. All right, so anyway, With that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai, Bashim Kodesh. Shalom.